In May 2020, I gave you a $175 entry on Ethereum with protected downside. Today we're almost at 4,000. And in May 2021, this year, I gave you a video where I painted 5 realistic scenarios for Ethereum. And one of those scenarios landed Ethereum at $30,000 each. I also gave you guidance to track which one of those will play out. And that $30,000 scenario is looking really great right now. And there's more, the utility of Ethereum is 60 times higher than Bitcoin today if we measure on how much people pay to use it. Last month, the daily fees paid are $40 million on Ethereum, while people only paid $600,000 to use Bitcoin. Of course, you can argue that if Bitcoin is a hodl digital gold coin, you don't need to use it. Still, what people are ready to pay for counts. And just like we had here in May 2020, where LARSSON flipped gold on Ethereum, and then we had a dip to a key support level which held and we bounced. The same thing happened now. LARSSON flipped gold and we had a dip to a key support which was this red line here which held and we bounced up again. And not only that, we're inches away from completing a cup and handle formation on the ETH/USD chart. Look here, cup, handle, and the clean break above 4,000 would pretty much confirm it. And still, today, I'm not buying Ethereum. In fact, I'm getting ready to sell them. It's only pending one key event. Surprised? Let me show you something. Let's look at this wave here. It's coming in, going out, coming in, going out. The reed in the wind. Back, forward, back, forward. The leaves are falling from the trees today. But soon there will be spring, and they will grow out again. It's a pendulum, and many situations in nature and physics can be described as a pendulum. But what many people fail to understand is that this applies to society and narratives too. They swing back and forth. They get overextended in either direction before they turn back. And nowhere is this as clear as in the charts of speculative assets like cryptocurrencies. This swinging motion between the extremes doesn't make one of the narratives wrong. So if we stop looking at the ETH to USD chart and instead look at the Ethereum versus Bitcoin, the power balance between those two coins, and zoom out, we see something else. From 2015 to 2017, there was a massive surge in Ethereum price versus Bitcoin price. The narrative of this first phase was the flipping or the flippening. Ethereum is a better coin, so of course it will flip Bitcoin. Then, no. Things turned here. The narrative instead became that Ethereum will die along with ICO use case, death by ICO, because too many projects are sitting with huge funds that they will need to sell because they actually don't have any business. So they will keep dumping their Ethereum that they raised until Ethereum is dead. And if anything, it will be another smart contract platform that takes that use case. And it did dump from a high of 0.16, where it was a millimeter from flipping Bitcoin, to a low of 0.016, so it lost 90% of its value as measured in Bitcoin. But then came a third phase, Ethereum phase 3, real use. 2020, new real use cases picked up. Stablecoins with USDT, USDC. Today the stablecoins have a market cap of 133 billion. DeFi became a real major alternative to centralized exchanges. We got NFTs. And ICOs haven't disappeared. In fact, almost all the major cryptocurrencies today started as an ICO. Cardano ADA, Binance BNB, and even Ethereum itself. And there are more token mints now than ever. They just slightly renamed them. And nothing of this is losing any steam. Evidence being the fee payments I showed earlier. So what's the hesitation then? Well, I see the possibility of the pendulum turning and swinging one more time in the other direction. And that would be phase 4, Bitcoin FOMO. If you weren't around in the spring of 2017, you might know this, so please allow me to do a quick recap. As Bitcoin, this red line here, ran up from $3,000 in June 2017 to $20,000 in December 2017, ETH to BTC, these bars absolutely tanked. The reason was simply Bitcoin FOMO. Everyone talked about Bitcoin. I'm missing the train, I must sell my alts and then jump onto the Bitcoin train so I don't miss it. That was the FOMO psychology. And at least doing that move late was not the right move, because it did recover the month after. in January. But if doing it early, it was the right move, because this was a massive drop from 0.16 to 0.02. That's an 85% drop in just a couple of months. And if Bitcoin really starts running now, which it could, that will be the next video, by the way, so make sure you subscribe and bell on. This could happen again. And if it does, I'm not gonna sit in alts and wait if that drops 85% again. No, then I'll try to play this. But it has not happened yet. What I will do is that I will monitor this range very carefully. If it breaks down, I will cut my ETH and move it over to BTC. But if it breaks up, this scenario of Bitcoin FOMO has not started, at least not yet. Then maybe instead we get another phase 4, Ethereum phase 4B, Ethereum FOMO. And maybe the narrative instead changes back to utility, bigger upside, the flipping being back on the headlines and so on. And personally, to decide which one of those two will play out, I will use this range. Of course, together with my trend indicator LARSSON line, which you should get if you don't have it already, because markets are moving now. I'm here to help, to be of use, but I can't help you if you don't help yourself. No one ever got rich in the markets over the long run from someone else telling them what to do. You have to steer your own ship. And I think that the next 2-3 months can be life-changing in these markets. So don't wait until afterwards to get your tools and process and skills in order. If you like mine, you get it at www.ctolarsson.com. And if you don't like my process, get somebody else's. But do something. The video with 5 scenarios on Ethereum is still highly relevant. I'll link it here. Definitely watch it if you haven't. Otherwise, watch the next one. Like, subscribe, and see you there. CTO Larsson out. Hej då!